this is Exio and welcome back to the channel. I was very fortunate to get into the closed beta test for Mecha Break, so I wanted to share some of my experiences with you. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. So there's a lot of systems in Mecha Break that I was very confused on, and I had to dive a little bit deeper into it to understand what everything is. This is by no means a detailed guide for everything in Mecha Break. I think this is going to be more catered for casuals, just to understand what some of the things that you're seeing on the screen means, such as what the different types of shields are, what the energy gauge is used for on the right side, minor details such as that. I'll explain a little bit about the melee system as well, as that was slightly confusing to me as well. Melee has a property where its damage pierces through most shields in the game. The exception to that is complex shields, but I will get into that a little bit more. Do note, this information is from the closed beta tests, so certain things can change on release. For starters, the main types of damage that you receive in the game will be dealt to either your complex shields, fluid shields, or health, and also in that particular order. Health is the green bar you see on the left side of the mech, or at the bottom if your mecha suit has a UI change for certain modes. The white bar that you see is your fluid shields, which is available on every single unit as of now. The last bar that you see is typically your gray bar, is for mostly deployable shields, which most of the time they are called complex shields. Their bar will be gray starting off and when it's inactive, and it will be shown blue when it is active. Damage will be dealt to shields first before damaging HP. However, there are certain types of weapons that can either partially go through shields or completely go through them. Melee and snipers are typically prime examples of this. To go through the melee system in the game, it was a little bit you could say it's straightforward and confusing at the same time. So, melee damage will typically go through shields and do direct damage to health. There are a couple exceptions to this, which typically revolve around the complex shields that are available in the game. Most of them are deployable shields of some sort. So, when these shields are first deployed, there are a few seconds where the shield has a parryable property, which you can tell by their large size or glow. Note that not all deployable shields have this. It's certain types of complex shields you'll most of the time see a physical shield come out rather than like EMP shield of some sort floating around you. When these shields are deployed, as I mentioned, there's a few seconds which you can use it to parry a melee attack. You can tell this by either their large glow or just larger size in general when they're first deployed. As these couple seconds continue, you'll see that it reverts back to just a smaller shield size, or the glow will become smaller, and that's when you know that it is no longer able to parry melee hits. If a melee attack hits you when you see this happen, it will go straight through it and do damage directly to your health. If you see this happen, you will have to retract and redeploy your shield again if you want to be able to parry a melee attack. A lot of people I see during the test would just activate the shield and keep it out, believing that it would block melee attacks, but they're only active to block melee attacks for a few seconds, so you will have to retract those and redeploy those again if you want to be able to counter a melee hit. A couple last things to note about melee. Some units you see will do a downward slam attack every now and then, which will typically happen when they do a melee attack while floating somewhere above your unit. This attack will bypass parryable shields, at least from what I can tell. Melee attacks also consume the EN gauge, which you use for boost, so your energy gauge. Make sure to keep an eye out for this. If you run out of your gauge here, you won't be able to use your boost or your melee options. Onto range damage. So most range damage in this game do damage directly to shields first and then to HP when they are gone. Some are able to do partial damage to health while dealing damage to shields. The most common case I saw of this is snipers. I didn't test every single weapon out in the game, but I did play snipers fairly often, so I did note that. This is more of a thing to keep in mind, as I didn't test every single weapon type out. There could be others that also do direct damage or partial damage to health while hitting shields. Snipers are just the ones that I happen to play and realize that it did that. Outside of this, there are 4 weapon damage types in the game as well: ballistic, energy, blast, and melee. Each unit has their own individual defense values against these types of damage. I don't know if the damage reduction takes into account first and then damages shields and HPs, or if it simply just gets taken into account when damaging HPs, but just note that each unit has different values for these types of damage, so certain units will take more damage from certain types of these damages. So I would say that's the general list of basic information that I want to give out for now. I will be doing more unit showcases, hopefully, as the weeks go by. I will work on getting as many unit showcases as I can out that I got to test out during the closed beta test. If you like this content and are excited for Mecha Break, leave a like, subscribe. I'll be covering this game as much as I can through release. We don't have a release date yet, so hopefully we get that announced soon. If nothing else, thanks for stopping by, and hope you enjoy this video.